Alright folks, welcome back to the Don's channel. I am the Donfather, and this is hashtag AFL Car Chat. Round 6 of the 2020 AFL calendar. This one, Richmond versus Swans at the Gabba. And boom, first quarter, it really did look like it was going to be a really good game. 4 goals in the first quarter, but 3 really quick goals from Richmond straight away. Rewalt, Martin and Bolton all chipping in with the 3 goals for Richmond, and for the Swans, Rowbottom, lovely goal from him. What I will say though is probably the biggest news, really I would say possibly of the game, was the fact that Josh Kennedy twisted his knee inways on his left knee, and that was him out for the rest of the match, which was very disappointing, and I'm thinking that he could possibly be out for a while. It didn't look great. He is a little bit older, so you'd imagine recovery might take a little bit longer than somebody who was younger, but we'll have to wait and see about that. First quarter then, 3-3-21 to 1-3-9 in favour of Richmond. Second quarter, a solitary goal, and that coming in the way of Papley. And one little stat that I did hear on the commentary that I was really quite impressed with, Papley has now scored in 24 games straight for the Swans. Absolutely fantastic for him on a personal level. I don't know what the record is for scoring in straight games, but that is really, really good. He's one of my favourite small forwards, maybe him or Charlie Cameron, but Papley I think could possibly be above Cameron so far in the Coleman. Not too sure on that. That was the only goal in the second quarter. It finished 3-5-23 to 2-3-15. So just 1 goal for the Swans and 2 behinds for Richmond in this quarter. And you know what? That was it. That was the tone of the game after the first quarter. It was really difficult game to watch, and I'm really struggling to find any positives in the game. The rain wasn't taking any time to come down, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that ball handling wasn't good. But from the first quarter, I think a little bit into the second quarter, the intensity was there, and then it just wasn't. Sydney kind of stepped up a little bit in the second quarter, and I think that's what nullified the Richmond intensity. They're not playing with any va-va-voom at all. Richmond, there's no... They're lacking confidence or something. I don't know what it is. They're not buzzing about the footy field like they did last year. They've just worked so tirelessly and hard off the footy. When they were out of possession, they tried their hardest to get it back. I think when they were in possession, they were deadly. Their handballing, their small handballing passes that they were doing last year just don't seem to be happening this year. They've got the big forward in Lynch. They're firing the ball up to him and Rewalt. It's not sticking. I'm not impressed with Lynch so far, and he's a player I really like last year, but I think he's looking like he lacks confidence as well. He's not been good in front of goal so far this year, which is quite disappointing. I was really looking forward to him. I put him in my super coach for 2020, but I've actually had to take him out because his confidence looks shot. And on that, on his goal kicking so far, you can't have him in your super coach, can you, when he's giving you that sort of return? Having said that though, he did score the only goal in the third quarter, Lynch, but he did miss an absolute shocker. I thought it was a bad one. I think possibly the same quarter, it might have been the third quarter. All the quarters kind of married into each other. There really was not a lot of talking points in this game, which was disappointing because this was going to be my game that I was going to do a proper review on, and I hope to have been giving you a good analysis of different things that happened in the game. Great talking points, positive talking points, and goals obviously, but not an awful lot of goals in it. I'll count them all at the end just to let you know, but Lynch got the only goal in the third quarter. So in 2 quarters of football, 3 quarters of football actually, because on the fourth quarter there was only 1 in that as well, so 3 quarters of football, 3 goals. That tells you the tale of the game, doesn't it? So Lynch with the only goal in the third. It finished 4-7-31 to 2-5-17. Sydney only managing 2 behinds in that quarter as well. Unbelievable stuff. And 1-2 in that quarter for Richmond. Really not a high scoring game whatsoever, this one. I actually think it is the second lowest game since the AFL started. I think that's what they said. It was on course to be the lowest scoring game, but there was a behind scored, and that's what took it a single point above that, which is an incredible thing to be talking about, considering you're talking about Richmond, who were the 2019 premiers. So on to the fourth quarter then. Papley with the only goal of the game. He chipped in with 2 goals today. I'm actually going to give him best on ground because I thought when he got on the footy, he was actually quite entertaining. He does those little moments of magic that you love. I love the way he twists, turns, weaves, ducks, dodges and all the rest of it, and he gets by players. He's quite strong for such a small guy. He's very physical and stocky on his build, but I like the way he can just change direction so fluently and easily, leaving people in his dust. He did score a good goal like that actually, and I think it was his first goal of the game was kind of like that, and he was quite unfortunate very early on in the game where I think an opportunity where he actually did do something similar with it in terms of running at players. He looks to try and create, and that's why I'm saying he was best on ground. Not because he was best on ground on disposal counts, but because he tries to create. He's a bit imaginative. He just gives you that little bit extra. I enjoy watching him. He's one of my favourite players in the competition, and he's up there with the leading goal scorers as well this year, so credit to him. One goal in the fourth quarter, finished. Well, Richmond only managed 3 behinds in this, so really poor kicking overall, as well as really poor intensity in the game. Not a lot of chances created, not a lot, both teams not really producing much in the way of in each other's, in the forward 50. Really, inside 50s, I'm not too sure what they would have been. I presume very, very low for both teams in this game, because there was just a lot of rubbish football being played in and around the centre of the ground. Just no clean, crisp, deliberate, direct footy being played. Both teams looked like they were standoffish. They looked like they lacked confidence maybe. Maybe it was the weather conditions. I don't know. It just goes to show Richmond are not good away from the MCG. They actually haven't been good in 2020, really, have they? I'm going to have to look through their form after this game. They have won it at the end of the day. Papley got the only goal, but it did finish 4-10-34 to 3-8-26. Very underwhelming game. I would probably say that was the poor, not only because it was low scoring, because the Richmond, again, Richmond we're mentioning again against Collingwood was very low scoring, a little bit higher than this, but it did have more intensity, a bit of a physical battle. Both teams were defensively astute, and this game, there was just a whole lot of nothing happening. I've got to be honest, that was probably the worst game of 2020 so far, which is disappointing, because it was the game I sat down, started writing my stats with, and thought, yep, we'll do the car chat with that one. But look, we're going to get these games. We're going to get these games. Not to worry, there's been absolutely loads of fantastic games in 2020. There's been loads of upsets in 2020, which is fantastic too. I believe 2020 is the year of the underdog. I don't think Collingwood have been convincing either. Both teams finding a win, I think, this weekend, didn't they? Yep. Yep, Collingwood beat Hawthorn 59-27, so quite low scoring still for Collingwood, but that's three wins out of 6 for them now, and 3 wins out of 6 for the Tigers, with a single goal, with a single draw in there for both teams as well. So both big teams there not doing amazingly well. Giants were beat off Port today, so Port are flying high, which is great to see. Essendon with their 4th win of the weekend. Gold Coast unfortunate against Melbourne. Melbourne get their 2nd win, and that was vital that they did that, because they were starting to really look like they were going to sit and prop up the table with the Crows there. Freo got 2 wins now, so that's good work for them. Beating St Kilda, which was actually a bit of a shock for me, to be fair, based on form going into it. And Geelong with their 4th win. So Geelong's doing quite well, quietly going about their business. A little bit like Essendon. 3 wins in a row now for Geelong. It's looking good. That was a big game. They beat potentially, between them or Port, being the Lions being the 2 best teams in the competition so far in 2020, Geelong beat them relatively comfortably in the end. So quite good games over the weekend, but I just happened to cover Richmond Swans, that happened to be arguably the worst one of 2020 so far. Anyway, enough of that. Thanks very much for tuning in. There will be more reviews. If I can get the chance, I'll do a review of Carlton Bulldogs. If not, rest assured, I'll be sitting back and enjoying it and calm the doggies. Hopefully the doggies can get the win. That'll be their 4th win of the competition too, and they're looking good. Carlton, they need a win after, what was it, Carlton going into this? 2 losses in a row now for Carlton, I believe. No, 1 loss, sorry, 2 wins before that, and two losses in rounds 1 and 2. So the 3 losses out of 5. 2 wins, and obviously Bulldogs going into this one with the 3 straight wins, looking for their 4th. So finding that form, gathering momentum, that's what it's all about. And as I say, the year of the underdog, definitely. When you've got the big teams not finding great form this year, it's up to one of the lesser, well, what people would usually think of being one of the lesser teams in the competition to go, do you know what, this is our year, this is our year to get our flag and build on it for the next year, because there's lots and lots and lots of talented teams in this competition. That's why I love this sport. The competitiveness of it. On the day, anyone can actually beat anyone. You don't really see that in most sports, with the exception possibly of the Crows this year. Everybody else, you know, anything can happen. It's the most unpredictable sport ever. When you try and do your tipping, it's like, pff, what the hell's just happened? I think I've managed 4 out of 8 so far, which is probably one of the poorest tipping weeks I've actually had, but that just goes to show how difficult it is and how competitive this sport is. So absolutely brilliant stuff. Don't forget to subscribe, everyone, and smash the notifications bell on so you don't miss any of the uploads, and give us a few thumbs up, why don't you? That would really help the channel grow. Check out our Facebook and Instagram, Twitter. Also, I've got the Donfather's AFL group on Facebook if you want to join that too. And I'd love it if you could become a patron. That really will help me in my quest to get to Australia to do AFL vlogging trip with the channel and my family. That's what it's all about. If you don't want to sign up to anything monthly, just fire a wee donation in. All proceeds going to the same cause. Thanks very much, everyone. I am the Donfather, and I'll see you all soon. Goodbye.